This may be the most important episode that I ever record because this is the information that I wish I had known in my teens, in my 20s, earlier on in my life, so that I could stop thinking about my cycle as an annoyance, as a disruption, as something to be frustrated or resentful over. So if that's how you're currently thinking about your menstrual cycle. This is the episode for you because I'm about to drop the 4 major reasons why loving your cycle is the most effective way to elevate your health and your hormone journey. And these are things that are going to be ones that you can take action on straight away. You don't have to wait. These are things we can implement immediately so that you can start seeing a huge difference in how you think about your cycle, but also how your cycle actually is every single month from here on out. So, one of the things that I love to share with all of my clients is your cycle is a blueprint. It is telling us so much information. And that's why I love to think about cycles as your monthly health report card. So, your menstrual cycle is actually a mirror for how you're doing hormonally and all of the symptoms that you experience, the PMS, like mood swings, energy levels, fatigue, heavy cramping, significant cramping, or heavy flows. These are all things that tell us about your hormone balance. When we can decipher these clues, these symptoms, we can actually give your body exactly what it needs. And when we do that, it minimizes all of those symptoms that we just talked about so that you actually don't have to keep suffering with those PMS symptoms. Yes, it's true. I've had so many incredible clients implement tiny shifts, tiny changes in their nutrition to help to support their hormone balance, and they see massive improvements in a very short amount of time. For one woman, as low as 15 days, and for many other women, in less than 30 days, they see improvements with their PMS symptoms because of little shifts with their nutrition that help to provide your body with the exact things that it needs to reduce or completely eliminate the PMS symptoms. PMS symptoms only occur when there is some kind of hormone issue happening. So, if we alleviate that, we alleviate all of the negative things that you might associate with your period too. So that's why we love thinking about your period as that monthly report card. In addition, this is so helpful if you have missing periods or irregular periods. You're going through symptoms right now that we can start to decipher so that we can give your body exactly what it needs so that you do start having regular cycles too. We also want to look at things like how well is your body handling changes in blood sugar levels or perhaps inflammation such as stress. We might even need to look at various nutrient deficiencies that can have an impact on how regular or severe your cycle or period is. But what's awesome about this is that monthly report card is telling us information all the time. All we need to do is listen, to pay attention, and to take action. When we do this, when we take action and give your body exactly what it needs in order to improve your hormone balance and reduce your PMS symptoms, what we're actually doing is helping you to build self-trust. Your body, your nervous system does not need to be in a state of survival, wondering if it's going to get the nutrients it needs. Instead, it's going to start to regulate. You're going to be in that rest and digest stage of the nervous system, which is when we feel more relaxed, when we're not in that survival mode. And I love that because it's helping you to de-stress, it's reducing inflammation, it's helping your hormones to balance out, and it's building that self-trust. So, what is another reason why loving your cycle is so important to your health and hormone journey? It is because of ovulation. Now, ovulation, which I like to kind of call the star of the show, is so important, not only if you're trying to conceive, but it's actually so important to help us understand what else is going on with your cycle. Now, like I mentioned, ovulation, obviously, very, very important if you're in a fertility journey. But ovulation also helps with us understanding how much progesterone you are producing. Progesterone is so important for calming that nervous system once again. It helps with reducing anxiety, it helps with reducing inflammation. It also helps with building a healthy uterine lining. and to increase your metabolism. So if you're not having regular ovulation, you might feel increase in anxiety. You might have trouble sleeping. You might even struggle with weight gain or having issues with losing weight. And many women in particular have issues with thyroid health. So, this is a really important distinction that I want to make because oftentimes I talk about fertility, but the idea of fertility is not only for women that want to become pregnant. Fertility also means you have an abundant and fertile life. You have lots of creativity, you have lots of energy, and you also have emotional resilience and nervous system resilience as well. So, supporting your ovulation through nutrition is one way that we can continue to help you to love your cycle. We want to increase things like zinc rich foods, and we want to make sure you're having plenty of healthy fats, which are so important for hormone balance. We also want to make sure you know exactly the foods to eat to balance your blood sugar levels. And these are all key tips to help you to make sure that ovulation is occurring regularly, that your egg quality is also high, but also to make sure your body is producing plenty of progesterone to help with making sure your mood, your energy levels, etc., are at their best time and time again, month over month. The third reason why I love talking about fertility and loving your cycle specifically is because when you understand your cycle, this actually helps to build your intuition and your trust, just like I mentioned before. And the way that we can do this is actually through cycle tracking. This is one of the things I talk to all of my clients on because cycle tracking is not only for timing when your period is happening or when is the best time to have intercourse in order to become pregnant, but we also want to understand when during your cycle you're experiencing certain symptoms. So, do you get headaches during your luteal phase? Do you have issues sleeping during ovulation? Or do you get really hungry during your luteal phase? All of this is pertinent information that helps us to understand key trends. And the more that we see that, the earlier, once again, we can catch those things so that we can start connecting all of the dots, moving from thinking about these random symptoms and moving them back into those clues that we can take action on to build self-trust, but also build up that muscle of intuition. Now, with nutrition, this is one of the key areas that I help all my clients on because little shifts in nutrition have a big impact to all of those symptoms that we talked about. So we might think about adapting some of your meals in certain phases to aid with minimizing headaches or to help you to have the nutrients you need in order to get better sleep. We might also increase things like fiber in order to help with blood sugar balance, or we might increase your healthy fats to aid with ovulation. These are all certain shifts, tiny shifts that we might make in order to help the information from your cycle tracking be lived out in real time to help to reduce or eliminate any PMS symptoms that you're having. Catching them earlier and earlier is the key here, but also this practice helps to build your intuition and self-trust. And last but not least, the fourth reason why I love talking about your cycle health, and why it's so important to your overall health and well-being as a woman is because loving your cycle is healing. Now, many of us grew up hearing that periods are gross and annoying or something that you have to hide or be secretive over so that no one knows. But truly, the menstrual cycle is sacred. It is your body's way of communicating with you, of detoxifying, of renewing itself. And it's also cyclical, like the moon phases or the seasons that we experience. One of the things I want to be really clear on is that when you start to listen to your cycle, when you start to be open to understanding your cycle, you start to shift from resentment about your cycle into reverence, into wonder, into really seeing for the very first time, perhaps, that your cycle has so much wisdom to tell you. You start to respect what your body needs. Like if you need rest during your menstruation phase, or you might lean into those times during your cycle where you have higher energy and you do more exciting, adventurous things. You don't need to push yourself to be the same every single day. And instead, I encourage all women to really flow with each of the phases of their cycles. understanding how the ebbs and flows of their hormones actually help to give them clues on the different things we can do month in and month out to help to honor the energy, the mood, the hormone changes within us, and to really live in a cyclical way that supports our own health and well-being instead of being dictated to by what other people or society or cultures might say we, quote, should be doing every single day of the month. This is truly how we heal. When we become fertile in all senses of the word, whether that be in abundance, in creativity, or in becoming pregnant, not just in the physical sense, but pregnant with ideas, this is when our life really expands. This is when our health really thrives. We become fertile in our relationships with ourselves, with our bodies. We become fertile in our work, whatever we choose to do, in our creativity. But most importantly, our joy compounds, our joy escalates and elevates ourselves and everyone that we touch on a day-to-day basis. So if you're just beginning your journey when it comes to understanding your cycle, understanding how your cycle can impact your health or your fertility even, this is really the episode that I want you to go back and listen to or share with a friend, because starting to understand your cycle, tracking it, listening to it, nourishing it, this is how we start to change the game when it comes to women's health, women's hormonal health worldwide. We have to have different conversations. We have to start opening up the doors so that we can understand the power that our cyclical health has. And when we start living that, when we start embodying that and telling the truth of our cycles, that's when we really start to see the ripple effect of improving women's health one woman at a time. So start with you. What's one action that you can take today based upon what I've shared? Maybe it's starting to track your cycle. Maybe it's looking back at what you have tracked and finding any symptoms that might be popping up for you. Maybe it's, once again, sharing this episode with a friend or a loved one so that they can start to understand their cycles on a deeper level too. Or maybe it's just looking in the mirror and telling yourself that you are worthy of your own time, energy, and love. This is how we change the game when it comes to women's hormonal health. Start today. Start loving your cycle.